Hey guys, what's going on? I got, I don't know, some of you might know, I got a set of super stock springs for this car. And I got to looking at them the other night. And I started looking at them and comparing them. I was going to do just a basic comparison video of the two springs that you get. But then I started looking at a factory set of springs and it hurt my brain. I think I may have my head wrapped around this. So that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about what I get out of all this, my theory on it. And if I'm 100% wrong, I'd like somebody to let me know, either in the comments or in another video or, on one of my lives, come on and talk about it. But yeah, that's what we're going to do today. All right. All right, so here's what we got. Excuse if you hear my chair rolling around. Okay. In order, right here, we have the passenger side spring. I will get these confused during this video. There is the driver's side spring. That's the order they're sitting in. And then over there is the factory spring that came out of this. Now, everybody talks about the passenger side spring because that tire will pull up into the wheel well. And that's why this is all beefy through here. You see this compared to these two springs. You've got, well, the difference in all of these is they're all 4-leafs, but then the super stock spring have the helpers. And I'm pretty sure that the super stock springs themselves are beefier because I can tell a difference lifting them up compared to the factory springs. The factory springs are a lot lighter. This is just things I've noticed. But now you've got 4 leaves, and then your 5th leaf is just like this little helper right here, which is not on at all on the factory spring. Driver's side spring, I was looking at, so you've got the leaf on the bottom. Leaf on the bottom is actually what is made into the eyelets. Okay, and your second spring is pushed all the way up here and actually cut right there on these. This is your 3rd spring and your 4th spring. See here you've got 1, 2, where it's not cut, 3, and 4. You've got an extra clamp on the front. I'm guessing that's to keep that tire from lifting up. To keep that one tire from lifting up and going into the wheel well. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's something you notice right away. But what you don't notice, and this is what Tony was talking about on his video, is this back here. The clamp is moved a lot farther back. Actually, no, the clamp is in the factory position. If you kind of look at them, clamp is more or less in the factory position. But you've got a lot of distance between the 2nd spring and here on this 1st spring, because this spring is pushed forward. And that makes it the back of the spring weak. See how there's your 2nd spring on that one. There's your 2nd spring on that one. There's your 2nd spring there, pushed way forward. So this back should fan out, like Tony was talking about in his video he did last week. But now, so that makes sense. That makes sense to keep that front down, to keep that passenger side tire from going up into the wheel well on a launch. That's this spring is set up for that, the passenger side spring. And okay, see, because these cars will sit crooked about an inch higher on one side. And there's been people asking, well, can you put just 2 of these springs on? Well, no, I don't think you can, because this spring over here, your driver's side spring actually serves a purpose too. If you look at the helper spring on the passenger, it's more to the front to help beef up the front of the spring. Okay, well, on this one, it's toward the back. So your passenger side spring, now if you look at this, the passenger side spring, where that is slid forward, the second leaf is slid forward. On this one, the second leaf is slid backwards to beef up the back of the spring. The helper is turned backwards to beef up the back of the spring. You still only got one band, but you have a lot more back here, even than on the factory spring. See the difference? You can see the difference there. Okay. So basically, if you put two of these on the car, yeah, they'll fit, and yeah, they'll work, and yeah, it'll sit level, but you're only getting half the benefit. Because why I think the back of that spring is set up to beef up the back is because that other tire, when the passenger side tire wants to go up, your driver's side tire is wanting to go down. And that's going to cause you to pull to the left or the right, one of the two, probably to the right. It's going to cause you to pull to one side or the other when you take off. Okay, so these springs are actually made to keep that rear end level with the car. When the car launches, it's going to keep it level. It will keep the ass end level with the, in relation to the car. Keep everything square, more or less. Now we get to the subject of wheel hop. I don't see how these springs are helping wheel hop as much as people think they're doing. I don't think if you just put super stock springs on your car, it's not gonna prevent wheel hop that much. That's what the pinion snubber is for. The pinion snubber is to prevent wheel hop. And I think there's a lot of people have that misconception that think I'm just going to throw these springs on here and my car's not going to wheel hop anymore. This is just my thoughts on it, because the wheel hop would be when the pinion is loading and unloading over and over and over and over again. And your slapper bars on like Chevys and everything else, they go from here to here, and that's holding that whole rear end housing from doing the loading and unloading when it goes up and slaps up here on the spring. Like if you had one that was too short and it slapped up here on the spring, it would not help as much. If you, ideally, if you have a car that you're going to put slapper bars on, you want that rubber to hit that eye up there, to hit that eye where the bolt is. You can't really see, you can see it on that one. You want to hit that eye. Same way with Caltrax. That's what Caltrax do. They make basically this whole front of this a solid unit. That's what prevents wheel hop. Now with Caltrax, from my understanding, with Caltrax, and I don't know about slapper bars because I don't deal in Fords or Chevys, but say, or even ladder bars. Ladder bars hold the whole rear end together and give it a spot to lift off of. Like you're lifting up on these four little bolts, which is a totally different story for me, but you're lifting up on those four little bolts. Those are connected to the subframe of the car, and that is what is lifting the front of the car up, is off of those four bolts. But you're still not, I don't think, well, you're controlling wheel hop that way. Just like a pinion snubber hits in the middle of the car and then it's lifting up from there. I'm sure it's lifting up a little on here too. I'm not a fucking scientist, but from what I see mostly your wheel hop is being controlled by the pinion snubber, and these springs are keeping the rear end where it needs to be when it wants to torque like this. They're keeping that rear end from torquing like this. And there's some cars that you see that, like I know, if you like farm truck, if you watch old farm truck videos, when he launches, it's this whole side of the car, the whole driver's side of the car pulls up and pulls a wheelie like that. That's because the whole vehicle is rotating on that rear end when he launches. These keep that from happening to where it's trying to pull up both. You're getting equal traction with both tires. You're pulling the car up evenly. And that's just my take on the super stock springs. I don't think super stock springs alone would help with wheel hop. Not that much. They might. Well, I mean, they are stiffer. They're stiffer springs. They may keep that axle from wrapping up. But if you're going to run super stock springs, run a pinion snubber, for sure. Like I said, I am no goddamn scientist. And thinking about this really hurt my brain when I first started looking at these springs, because I was thinking about wheel hop and how is that going to help with wheel hop. But you know, you haven't seen. I just wanted to do this video because nobody's really done an in-depth video on super stock springs. I wish somebody could reference this video and make a video, somebody who really knows exactly what the super stock springs do. And if I'm wrong anywhere, tell me I'm wrong. You know, I mean, don't be ignorant about it, but I don't think anybody would be. They'd be like, hey, yeah, you were close, you know, whatever. But, you know, if somebody who really knows about these super stock springs and has a set out and can look at them just like I have here. You know, but I mean, I've seen videos where people talk about the super stock springs and all they talk about is the beefiness on that one side. It's beefy up there in the front and it's got more stuff up there and they think it's that way on both, and it's not that way on both. One is beefier in the front, the other is beefier in the back. All right, so if you guys thought this was informative, or if you like it, or you just like me doing little hand gestures and stuff, and like, share, subscribe. If not, I don't give a fuck.